Okay, we are in Judges, and what I want to try to do is we have to finish this in the next 2 weeks. So that's the bottom line. And so what I think I'm going to try to do is at least to finish the chapter today, and then whatever we miss from the Malbim we'll pick up the next week. That's what I would like to try to do. If we get stuck, we get stuck, but regardless, we have to finish in 2 weeks. So here we go. We're on chapter 21 and verse 1. It says, V'ish. Now, what happened was, don't forget, there was a war. Bnei Yisrael finally beat the Benjaminites, wiped them out for the most part, and now are having seemingly second regrets. So the very first verse, though, of chapter 21 is out of order. Everybody's agreeing to this. This statement was said before the war. And that's all. It goes from before the war to the second statement being after the war, and consequently after the war. Okay, so the first statement was V'ish, the first pasuk, V'ish Yisrael, and each man of Israel, Nishba b'mitzpah lemor, they swore in the mitzpah, which was a place saying, Ish mimenu, a man from us, lo yitain bito leBinyamin leisha, he should not take his daughter, he should not give his daughter to Benjamin, to the Benjaminites, as a wife. So in other words, before the war, again, this is before, so they all make a decree that they cannot intermarry with the Benjaminite girls. Why? Because the Metzudas David says, where is it? Because they didn't want to strengthen the hands of the people who did sins. So they don't want to, remember, these people did something inappropriate in that they didn't speak up against the rape. So here they attacked and so on and so forth. So what they said was, we can't allow anybody to intermarry, and that was it. Yeah.
So in terms of this being out of order, do we think it was the pasuk was actually misplaced in this chapter, or do we think that it was intentionally put here just as a one-sentence recap?
Yes, that is the reason. It was put here as a one-sentence recap because of what's about to happen. So you want to, otherwise this makes sense what's about to happen. So they're saying, we made this before the war, and now when they went into the war, the problem is, once again, they thought it would be a quick in and out. It wasn't supposed to be a major war, and so they said, we don't want him to marry with them. They always thought that Benjamin would be around. Okay, so now Beit. Beit El, so now after the war, the nation comes to Beit El, V'yeshu sham ad erev, and they stayed there until evening, Lifnei Elokim, before Hashem, V'yis'u kolam, they lifted their voices, V'yivku bechi gadol, and they cried a great cry. So again, this afterwards they came to the Mishkan. Vayomru, and they said, Lama Hashem Elokei Israel, why did Hashem, the God of Israel, Haita Zot B'Yisrael, allow, literally, was this in Israel, but allow this to happen in Israel. That's what you have to say that means. Otherwise it wouldn't make sense. But literally was, like I said. So, and then what's happening there? Lihipaked hayom miYisrael shevet echad, to take away one of the tribes, to cause one tribe to be removed from Israel. So Metzudas David says, Lama ba'al yadeinu tekala kazo. Why did, this is what they're asking, according to Metzudas David, why did such a thing happen by our hands, to take one tribe, to lose a tribe from Israel? So now it's as if they were coming to find out, how do we stop this from happening? In other words, we know we're about to lose a tribe. because, and by the way, while they're so concerned, again, we'll get to the Malbim, but I'm just giving you the short. The reason they're so concerned with this is that the divine Shekhinah, the divine presence of God, does not rest upon the Jewish people unless all 12 tribes are represented. If we are minus one tribe, we lose the divine presence. So they're saying, well, how do we remedy that? We need all 12 tribes, and we still have some men hanging around. We've killed everybody else out, but as we'll find out, there's, I believe, 600 men left out of 24,000, I think it was. If you think about it, I think it was 24,000. So there's only 600 men left out of the entire tribe, and that's not really a tribe. That's just a family at that point, right? So they want to know, that's what they're asking, how do we rebuild? And Dalit, Vayihim Macharat, so it was on the next day, Vayashkimu Ha'am, the nation got up, and whatever says Vayashkimu, we learned this from Avram Avinu, that it means they got up early in the morning. There was Zariz. They got up early in the morning, and Vayivnu Sham Mizbech, and they built their Mizbech, an altar, V'yalu Olot Uslamim, and they brought up Olot, which is elevation, or totally burnt offerings, and peace offerings. So, what's going on here? They were in Shiloh. Why are they building Mizbeach? Yeah. So the Mitzudas Dav explains Nosaf al Mizbeach Sha'ama b'Mishkan. They added a Mizbeach in addition to that which was in Mishkan, and they brought up the sacrifices. They brought the elevation offering, the Olah, L'Ritzot Atzman L'Hashem, to appease for themselves to Hashem, V'lasot Shalom Beinam, Avihem Shemaim, and to make peace between them and God. And in order that God would give to them a good advice. They needed to know, again, this is what they were trying to do, we need to know what to do. It's always good after you sin that you decide, okay, we better find out what we've done. Or if you thought you were doing good, by the way. Let's say I thought I was doing good, but still a disaster happens, and it went further than what you thought. So now, again, you have to say there's a sin, or I need your divine help. Okay, that's why they have the prophets. That's why they had all these things. So they could go to the prophets or to the Kohanim and figure out how can we remedy the situation. Of course, there may be no remedy to a situation, but it may have gone too far. But nonetheless, they have to try their best. V'yomru b'nei Yisrael. So b'nei Yisrael said, "Mi asher lo Allah b'kahal v'yikol shiftei Yisrael el Hashem." Who is it that did not go up in the congregation from b'nei Yisrael to Hashem? Now, what are they asking here? They're asking. Mitzudas David explains this question. It says, what they're really asking is, me who, asher lo Allah, who did not go up from all of Bnei Israel when we gathered to Hashem? Because the Shekhinah dwelt in that place that they gathered there. So the question is, who didn't come? Because, by the way, if they didn't come, they weren't part of the Shavua. They would not be part of the Shavua that the girls couldn't intermarry. There's two things. There was one thing. The other part is that they were Chayav Misa. Because it says, because there was a great Shavua, there was a great oath that was made there, that anybody who did not go up to Hashem in Mitzpah, then we said that person shall surely die. So, Mitzudas David continues, Ki Shavua, Ulezeh shalu la'asol l'kayim davar Shavua. And to this, they asked to go up and to fulfill the words of the Shavua. So in other words, here, let's understand what's about to happen. They're trying to figure out, okay, we have, this is, when you have a problem, what do? You go to the doctor. The doctor gives you advice. And then what happens is you try to figure out, okay, I personally can't do something because I'm too far away. So let's brainstorm. Now that's what they're doing. They're brainstorming. And they're saying, okay, we have a problem. We can't, anybody like us, we can't allow our daughters to marry Benjamin's boys. And they have no girls left. There's another reason. We knocked everybody out. We wiped everybody out. Okay, so all we have is the boys. So now, and we want to get them to be married. There's a lot of kids, so we have to get them married. We can't do it. So let's brainstorm and figure, oh wait, we made a shvuah, okay, if you will. I'm playing the game out. We made a shvuah, we made an oath that whoever didn't join us in the fight against Binyamin, Motima, they will surely die.
Wow.
You're going to die. That's the punishment. You didn't come to join us, you're going to die. And so until this moment came up where they now need to find girls, they never thought about it. So they didn't have it, they didn't say, okay, Ben Reuven, Shimon, Levi, and so on and so forth. That's the thing. They assumed everybody came. So now what they're asking is, wait a second, they got a little bit of advice. Either they brainstormed, and they said, let's figure out who wasn't there. Zayiven Achamu, Bnei Yisrael, and Bnei Yisrael was comforted, or again regretted, however you want to look at that. That word is a strange word because when it says V'yenachem Hashem, talking about the flood, when it's after you've destroyed before the flood. Yeah, before the flood, right before the flood. And he says, and God regretted that he made man. Right? And Noah found favor in his eyes. So that's the same word, nachem. Nachem normally means comfort, but yinachem now it becomes a piel, and now, but this is the same sort of word, vayinachamu. It kind of, you see it's a piel because, I'll ask you, why is it, how do I know it's a piel? Because of the Gesh and the Nun, right? Okay. Vayinachamu, so they regretted what, or however you want to look at that. They have a regret. How does he put it? They were comforted. They didn't say comforted. So they were reconsidered. Here, reconsidered. El Binyamin Achiv, to Binyamin his brother. Vayomru, and they said, Nigda Hayom Shevet Echad. One tribe today has been wiped out, has been cut off. Mi Yisrael, Ma na'aseh lahem. What should we do? For them. Lenotarim, lenashim. To the ones who are remaining for wives, who are we going to give them to? V'nachnu nishbanu b'Hashem. We swore by Hashem's name. Levilti tet lahem mibnotenu lenashim. Not to give from our girls, from our daughters, to them as wives. So what are we supposed to do? And again, I'm going with Meshuz David first, okay? So, he's Chos and Mefarish, he goes back, he's saying the Pasuk is going back and explaining, L'notarim shalonagu, to the ones who remained, who were not killed. How are we going to find them a shidduch? We have to find them shidduchim, what are we going to do? We can't get from us, we swore in Hashem's name. So what are we going to find women? So, Vayomru, and they said, Mi'echad mishivtei Yisrael, asher lo alal Hashem mitzpah. Again, who is one of the tribes who did not, one of the members of the tribes of Israel who did not go up to Hashem mitzpah, hine lo ba ish el hamachanem, and behold, they did the investigation, and what they found was that from the place called Yavish Gilad, nobody came to the camp, to the Kehillah. So they identified a place in which the people didn't leave their homes. And so the David continues, Vayomru Zeh Yasiba Shethid Oru. This is the reason that they were waking up as it were, and they said, they were Hitoru, like I said, getting excited. Vayomru Mi Echad, in order to fill the shvuah, to kill out those people and to give their daughters to Bnei Binyamin Lenashim. So that's what they figured. What we'll do is we will kill. It's a shvuah, by the way. It's not to decide. they had a shavua, they had an oath that if somebody doesn't come, they're chayav misa. And that shavua holds. The Sanhedrin, it's an interesting thing in this week's Parsha, in Bahar B'chukotai. So the Ramban comments in the last Psukim, I think it's the last Psukim, where he's giving a whole long treatise as to, is it there? Or I just saw this recently. So it's either Ramban or we're doing it in Daf Yomi too. But I think it's the Ramban. So he goes through a whole thing of saying that when the Sanhedrin or the Zikanim make a decree, it is the force of law. And therefore, that's why they were chayav misa. It wasn't just, if you don't do this, you're going to die. It was the Sanhedrin came out, or whatever, the leader came out and said it, and that's why a king has the power of death. And Sanhedrin has the power of death. And it was the power to kill. So what happened was, they said that, okay, and they found up in lo ba'ish, lo ro mibiyad ish. There was nobody except from Yavesh Gilad. Right, fine. So now what happens? V'it paked ha'am. So the nation looked, what did they want to say? They counted. Oh, the nation counted. V'hinei ein sham ish v'hinei ein sham ish. So they took account of the people, and behold, there was no man there, Yoshvei Yavesh Gilad, from the people of Yavesh Gilad. Okay, they wanted to make sure they were right. They didn't find anybody. V'yishlechu sham ha'edam. So the nation, the Eda, the congregation sent there, Shneim Asar Elef each from Bnei Chayil, 12,000 men of the army. And they commanded them, saying, Lechu v'hikitem et Yoshvei Yavesh Gilad v'chicharev, go and wipe out the inhabitants of Yavesh Gilad according by the sword, v'hanashim yatav, and the women and the children. Wait a second, you just said you need the women. What are you killing women for? You want the women. So they're explaining, this is what you should do to wipe out everybody, wipe out the children, wipe out the women. But the Mitzvah David says, Avalo betulo, but not the virgins. And those the only women you're wiping out are those who were married. So because they can't do anything for you. Although I don't know why. Just logically, if they are widows, they should be able to marry too, but apparently they only want virgins and they can't have children again. It's an interesting thing. They're not doing it probably because it goes back to the original decree. Whoever doesn't come, they shall surely die. So here we need an advice. We asked, we got the advice to do this and have the Betula. This is what you shall do. Kol zachar, kol ish yodat mishkav zachar, tacharimu. Every male and every woman who knew a male, you shall destroy, you shall cut them off. Okay, Tacharimu is basically kill. So what they found from the inhabitants of Yoshvei Gilad, the girls, Arba Meod Na'ara Betula, they only found 400 girls, who did not have relations with a male. And they brought them to the camp in Shiloh, Asher Be'eretz Canaan, that was in the land of Canaan. And so the Mitzvah David says they found these Betulo. Now how they know that they're Betulot? Here's an interesting. Comes from the Gemara. He's going to the Gemara on this. The way you found if she was want to know if she was a virgin is Hoshivum al pi chavit shel yain. You would put her on over the mouth of the barrel of wine. Be'ula, if she had relations with a man. Reicha no Dave, then apparently you would smell the wine coming through her mouth, I guess. I'm not sure. In other words, to figure out there's an opening there, and they would smell it. V'lo betula, and not a virgin. And that's what the rabbis say. So mishkav zachar, and what does it mean that betula, that didn't lie with a man? Lishkavima mishkav zachar, to lie with her in a normal manner. V'amra the tosfot bear. Okay, fine. So then it says, Vayishlechu kol eida. So the whole nation sent out. Vayidabru, they sent. Vayidabru el b'nei Binyamin, and they spoke to b'nei Binyamin, asher b'Selarimon, that was still in Selarimon. Remember, that's where they were hiding. They didn't want to be attacked. They ran there. Veikru lahem l'shalom, and they called there. They said, "Let's have peace." Okay, so it says. He explains, "Vayidabru Masha Amar." So for Mikra Shekar Shalom, they spoke words of peace. V'lo Yahargum Od Ata. They said, "We don't want to kill you anymore. The war is over." They signed what do you call it, the armistice. Yeah. They signed the armistice. Okay. V'yasha Binyamin be'eda. He saw Binyamin returned on that day. V'yitnu lehem anashim, and they gave wives to them, from the ones who lived, Nishei Yavesh Gilad, from the women that of Yavesh Gilad, Lo Matzu Lehem Kain, and they didn't find them thus. What does it mean they didn't find them? So he explains, Vayasha Binyamin Elaeda. So first of all, Binyamin came back to the congregation. They joined the people again. Fine. Now we have 12 tribes. Baruch Hashem. So the Anashim Ashayu, Habatula shared Chayu Miben Habatula. We're talking about the Betula that lived from amongst the ones who were not virgins. And then it says, Lo Matsu Lahem Cain. Again, literally, they didn't find to them thus. That's what it literally means. They didn't find to them thus. So there's a missing word there. What does it mean? Lo safku lehem kefir tzarach. They didn't have enough women for them. Kebatulot hayu arba ameo. Because the virgins were 400. Bnei Binyamin and the people who were nisharu and the survivors of Bnei Binyamin were sheish meot, were 600. So we have 200 guys who are bachelors. Not a good situation. If you would have had 400 men and 600 women, there would be no problem. We could have married off. You would have had a couple of wives, have a good time, and have a lot of kids, and so on and so forth. But a woman can't marry two husbands. So here you have a case where I have 200 bachelors. Okay, so by the way, as far as who's marrying whom, I don't know if they had shidduchim. I don't know if they had to go out. It was, today speed dating. That's what they call it. Speed dating, where you have all the tables set up and you have 30 seconds with each other, or whatever it's called. Whatever, how much do they have? And they get to know. Okay, I don't think it was that. I think it was just a matter of, okay, you, or whatever the case is going to be. Here's your choices. You don't have many more. Deal with it. That sort of thing. So however that worked out, but nonetheless you still have 200 who are not going to be able to get married. So what happens? Again, the nation had compassion for Binyamin. It says, they again regretted what they did to the nation. They regretted what they did to Binyamin. Why? Because Hashem made a breach in the tribes of Israel. And it says, it wasn't Hashem, right? It was them. Well, Hashem told them they should do it in the end, but if they would have asked from an original, I don't know if that would have happened. So, Hashem al yadam, through their hands, Asa Hashem peretz mishivtei Israel. Hashem made a breach in the tribe of Israel. Yokim al chasim shevet echad. That it was they nearly lost one tribe. So again, you're going from 24,000 to 600. It's like you lost a tribe. So what happens? Vayomru ziknei ha'eda. Now the ziknei ha'eda, the elders of the congregation say, Ma na'aseh lenotarim lenashim. What should we do for the remaining men for wives? Okay, the 200 men. What are we going to do for them? Because there are no women left. He said, so he explains, because from all the women of tribe Binyamin were wiped out. So where are we going to get 200 more women? Again, the same problem. If we have a decree, if we made a decree, an oath, at Shiloh, no, it wasn't Shiloh, it was in Mitzvah, saying that nobody can allow their daughters to marry. So okay, we got rid of the major part of the problem. We got Yavesh Gilad. They deserve to be wiped out. We wiped them out. Fine. Now there's 400 girls here. First of all, the tribe is still now going to be reestablished. Yes, you all agree with that, right? I have a wife. That's it. I'm going to have now. We'll go slow, but we're going to grow. So the tribe has been saved. So now, but we still have 200 bachelors. So Vayomru. Yerusha Pleitav Levinyamim V'loim Cheshev Yisrael, and they said that the remainder of not the remainder. Well, it's the remainder of Binyamin. There's the inheritance of the remainder of, how's he said? I just want to see how they translate that one word. It's always hard to translate certain things. See, even he, and if you look at 17, even he puts in parentheses, there must be. Because he felt the problem. There must be an inheritance for the remnant of Benjamin. Okay, and so the tribe not be blotted out from Israel. So what happens? 17. Right. So who's they said? Heshiva kol ha'eda. So remember, the Ziknei ha'eda, the elders of the congregation said, what we're going to do to the elders, and the people said, whoa. Zikanim, rabbis, let's get serious here. Kol ha'eda aviamru. Halo Yerusha Paleta miyavesh Gilad. We already saved the people. There's nothing here. We saved the people because we gave them the children of the girls of Yavesh Gilad. They are the virgins that were remained alive. Halo Binyamin, they were given to all to Binyamin. So it's no longer going to be the tribe will no longer be wiped out. They're going to have men and women. They're going to have boys and girls. They'll be able to repopulate the people. So what's your problem? You understand the question? Again, the rabbis, the Ziknei Yisrael, are saying we have 200 bachelors. We have to fix them up. People are saying, whoa, why? What's going on? We saved them. We gave them 400 girls. They're going to have children. And Mr. Hashem, they'll have children. They should be Zayich to build a bias them of Yisrael. Fine. So they're going to have boys and girls. You're not just having one child. This is not America. 1.3. You're having, or whatever, 1.2. You're having, is it 1.2 or is it less these days? I don't even know. But it's, but they're going to have, in Mr. Shem, they'll have a kit and caboodle. They'll have a nice tribe there themselves. 10, 15 kids. 5, 10, something like that. Remember, you're not using anything. You're having relations. That's it. So you should be able to have kids. If God wants you to duplicate, you're going to duplicate. So what are you getting us involved for? That's a question. We already did what we had to do. And they said further, and we ourselves cannot give our daughters to as wives for them. Because in case you forgot, they were very, very nice about this because Bnei Yisrael swore, saying, Aror ad noten ishel binyan. Curses the one who gives a wife to Binyamin. So we don't want to be part of that curse. Who wants an Ainara? Who wants to be the one to throw themselves in front of the sword, as it were? And so the Mesilas David continues. He says, and let's say you want us to have pity on the 200 men who remain. What can we do? We can't do anything. I feel bad for them, but we're stuck. Okay, you understand? So they really want to do something, but they're stuck. They feel stuck. So he says, Vayomru, and they said, Hine Chag Hashem b'Shiloh. There's going to be a holiday for Hashem in Shiloh. And so they explain, who's saying this again? Chazur Ziknei Eda. The elders of the congregation say, behold, there will be a holiday to Hashem in Shiloh. Makom Ahu Yimsu Nashim. And we're going to make a special day. And there's going to be women there. Kasha Amru B'nei Binyamin. Then we're going to say to B'nei Binyamin, and here's the plan. Okay, he says we're going to make that Miyamim Yamima from year to year. Ashir Mitzvon LeBeit El Mizracha HaShemesh. That is from the north to Beit El, and to the east. They're giving directions here, and to the east, the Mesilah, the highway Ha'olam Beit El Shechem, the highway that goes up to Beit El to Shechem, in Negev, Levon, to the south of Lebanon. I believe it's Levon is not Lebanon. Levona would be Levona. Okay, fine. So here are the directions. They're giving directions. They're better than GPS. Okay, it's to the north. It's going to be from time to time the festival. Okay, and it's going to be the north of Bethel, the east side of the highway that goes up to Bethel, to Shechem, to the south of Levona. Wherever these places are, that's where it's going to take place. And he says, so Sudas David explains, Chag Hashem Yom Shemarbim Lo Bo Kabbanos to Hashem. It's going to be a day that we're going to give a lot of kabbanos to Hashem. That's why it's going to be considered a holiday. This day was fixed. By the way, do you know what the day was? Tu B'Av, the 15th of Av, and made famous by little Abner as Sadie Hawkins Day.
Oh.
Remember Sadie Hawkins Day? You know what I'm talking about, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So that was made famous by that. But it's really Tu B'Av. The girls would go and we're going to find out they would go to the guys would snatch them from the woods. Okay. And then he says, why did he give all these directions? So it says to give a sign on the place. V'yamar shehi b'tzfon shel Beit El. It was to the north of Beit El, Mizracha, and to the east of the highway that goes up to Beit El, to Shechem, and to the south of Levona. What happens? Vayitzavu et b'nei Binyamin lemor. So they commanded, the Beit Din again commanded b'nei Binyamin, saying, L'chu v'aravtem b'karavim. Go and hide in the vineyards. And he says, Mesilah David says, "V'yisavu el ha'am lo na'amru me'ez ofan yimsu." To the nation, they didn't say how they were going to solve this problem. Ki pen yodea la'anshe Shiloh v'yu nishmarim, because if the men of Shiloh knew, they would guard against it, because who wants their daughter to be taken away? But really, the Anshia, the Ziknei Eda, the elders only told the men of Binyamin, and they told them to hide. So you understand? We're having a collusion between the court and the people of Binyamin, but nobody else knows this. Now, the truth is, after the first year, everybody knows. But in the first year, you can imagine not everybody understood. Okay. And so what happens is, they told him, go ahead, and you will see that you will see, and behold, if or when the girls come out in Shiloh to dance with drums, is not too far. To dance in the dances, okay, dance in the dances. You will go out from the vineyards. You'll grab them for yourselves, a man and a woman. Remember, you can't grab a lot, it's only one, leave me alone. Okay, from the daughters of Shiloh, and you will take, and you will, by the way, walk them. It doesn't say take them. It doesn't say run with them. It's an interesting way to say this. You're grabbing them, and you'll walk with them to your homeland. You'll bring them home. The girls apparently would have to still convince the girls, I want you to come with me. So he says, eat them. So he says, what's going on? Eat them for those who were in hiding. Tashkifa miha yotze, watch, see who's going out. Kasha yatsu benot shilo lachol b'mcholot. So when the girls go out to dance, kikol hayadarkam v'yomahu, because that's their way on that day. You will go out. Al states min amarav. Then you're going to go out from where you're hiding. Kol ish echtov chaliyot ish tov v'telchu l'darchachem. You'll grab one that you want to be your wife, and then you'll go on your way. Yeah. So now, v'haya ki yavo avotam, and it will be when their fathers come, or achechem, or their brothers come, lariv elenu, to argue with us, v'yamarnu aleihem chanunu otam, and we will say to them that you should. We took pity on them. Chanunu otam, we took pity on them. Because the man could not take his wife in war, for you did not give to you because we did not take for each man his wife in war. So I lost my place. Oh, kilo atem netatem lehem, and you did not give it to them. You did not give the girls to them. Ke'et te'eshamu, in the time that you should be guilty. So that's how the Beit Din got away with that. They said, get these girls, and then when the fathers come, we'll say the curse doesn't go on you because you didn't give them; they were taken. We can get into this whole. It's a whole question. I mean. Yeah, you can't marry somebody against their will, which is why I think that has to have a halachtem. I mean, we'll get to that, but hopefully we'll get to that. But that's what it seems. So, Metzudas David says, "Avotam shall narod nechtafot." The fathers of the people, the girls who grabbed, they're going to come to argue with us. Asod imanu meriva azor lahem. They're going to come to us with their argument to help them to get the girls, the women, out from under their hands. From under your hands by the law, and we'll say to them, "Chanenu, chamalnu, la'amanenu, have pity on them for us, for the Bnei Binyamin, from taking them wives, because they did not take them in war. Ki milchemet yavesh gilad lo lakachnu mehem kol kach naro ad shebehen dai litain lechol ish bnei Yisrael ishto." When we had the war of Yavesh Gilad, we just didn't have the girls to fill out the whole thing. So if that's the case, we're going to find the girls, and then don't worry about it. You didn't give it to them, which means if you're worried about the prohibition of the oath, there's no, you didn't transgress the oath. You did not give your girls from your desire. If you would have made a wedding and everything else, then you'd have to bring a guilt offering. But this way you don't have to. They took him by force. Okay. So V'yasu Kain Bnei Binyamin. So Bnei Binyamin did thus. V'yisu Nashim L'Isparam. They married the women according to their number. Min Mecholov, from the ones who were dancing Asher Gazal that they stole. V'yelchu V'yashu V'el Nachlatam. They went and they returned to their inheritance. V'yivnu Et Ha'arim V'yeshu Sham. They built the cities and they settled there. So it says Lefi Misparam Achat Lechol Ish. And they only took one wife. They didn't take more than one wife. From the women that were dancing, that's what they took by force. And they built the cities. Why they have to build the cities? Because Bnei Yisrael burned down the cities, so they had to rebuild. And on that day, Bnei Yisrael went out from there, each man to his tribe and to his family, and they went out from there, each man to his portion. So Metzudas explains, after the Bnei Binyamin had found their wives, each man went back to the tribes, and they didn't take hold of what was left from the Nachala of the inheritance of Binyamin. Ki sheish me'od ish asher nish'aru yashu et kol Nachala Binyamin. So they didn't steal any of the land from Binyamin. When they left, the 600 guys went back and got that whole piece of land. Israel was divided equally. According to the Gemara, or at least one opinion, it was divided equally between all the tribes, totally equally, and then the tribes would have to divvy it up. So since Binyamin has not been wiped out, they didn't go into Binyamin, even though you can have a lot of territory right now. They still let Binyamin take that. And then the last verse is, Bayam Imahem, in those days, Ein Melech B'Yisrael, there was no king in Israel. Each hayashab be'enav yaseh. Each man would do what was right in his eyes. So Mitzvah David leaves it to say, Im ki lo haya b'yamim hahem melech, since there was no king in those days. Kol echad asa yashab be'enav, and each man did what was right in his own eyes. Kol makom, even so, lo shalchu yab nachala Binyamin. Nobody stole from the inheritance of Binyamin. Ki be'avor asher nish'aru ma'at me'harbei ma'od. Because since we're a little bit left from the extremely large amount, Chamlu Aleihem, they had compassion on them, they left it to those who remained, the entire thing. So that is the end of the book of Shoftim. Okay, so now that's how it finishes off. Now let's go back to the Malbim and fill in the blanks. But you have the storyline, right? What happened is they very simply they didn't like that they wiped out. They didn't want the whole tribe to be wiped out. There were some people there. They decided, okay, that wasn't our main thrust anyway. We just want to get rid of the sinners. Stomach did that, but we also have to have 12 tribes. If we don't have 12 tribes, then Hashem won't dwell in our midst. We want that to happen more than the other thing. So now we have to figure out if there's anybody we can get. They find Yavesh Gilad didn't come. They wiped them out, but again by the rule of court, because they had a decree of death on them, so they didn't do anything wrong. They gave their girls, and there's only 400. They have to get 200 more. So you come up with Tu B'Av, still the day that we celebrate today. We don't send our girls out to the vineyards to dance around, but it's still a happy day. We don't say Tachon and so on and so forth. Those things. Okay. But that's that's where it came from. And again, for those little Abner aficionados, is that what they call them? Yeah. So I don't know. It's still in the paper. I can't imagine little Abner still exists. But
somebody else would have to be writing it.
yeah, I assume. But that's where they got Sadie Hawkins Day. Okay. I think that's where they got it from. Okay. Anyway, here we go. Malbim starts. There was the men of Israel swore, and again he says that first verse puts us before the time and now after the time. And so now every person, I'm sorry. So now the second one, now is after the war. So they all came to Beit El and they said, why does Hashem allow this? And it says, now if, he says, if Bnei Israel had not fallen the first two times, they would never have decreed that the people Binyamin, tribe Binyamin, should be wiped out. If they would have beaten the first time, they would have done their job, wiped out the Bnei Belial, these lowlifes that did the dastardly deed, and they would have gone home. But because they lost the first two times, now they made a decree that they should be wiped out. They had to wipe them out. That's why all the girls are gone. That's why all the children are gone. And they would have just punished, like I said, they would have just punished the sinners alone. They would not have killed the children and the women to destroy everybody. But because tribe Binyamin caused Israel to fall 40,000, therefore they wanted revenge. They got revenge. And now they come crying before Hashem, sitting and crying and searching and investigating what's the reason for this and why Hashem's anger was kindled against them. And so much so that they had a war in the first, that they lost people in the first two wars, and now the worst reason was even more because now they were about to lose a tribe from Israel, because even that they remained 600 men, even so, that was not on the day that they counted the tribe. That small number is not called a tribe. That's what I was saying before. And they are just a remnant of a tribe, so it's not a tribe by itself. We need to rebuild the tribe. 600 people doesn't make a tribe. It doesn't even make a city. It doesn't even make a town. I don't know what it makes. If you have 600 people in a place, what's the minimum for a town? I think you have to have a couple. Yeah, I think you have to have a couple of thousand.
Yeah.
I forget. It's a village. You have a whole bunch of different categories, even in America, that determines what the place is called. But in the city has a certain amount, town has a certain amount, the village has a certain amount, and there's something in Maine. I forget what it was called. It was TR or something. It was township, not a township. I forget what it's called. But again, there was maybe 30 people there.
My in-laws have retired to this little town, if you will, out in Missouri. It was on population, I think it was like 50.
There you go.
It was. If you blink driving through, you'd miss it. Literally, mouse.
Right.
They did have, I think, in terms of services, it fell under the auspices of the county, which was in.
Yeah.
I think they did have a mayor of sorts.
Right. Okay.
No
So like I said, when it comes to this, they would not be considered a tribe. That's what they were saying. Okay, so it was the next day, and they were sitting the second time to investigate on the reason and to search for through their deeds why Hashem was angered at them in this nation. And so they brought up korbanos to find favor from Hashem. So what happens? V'yomer b'nei Israel, and they said while they were searching on the matter, they remembered the matter of the war in Ai, where they lost 70 people. Remember Ai? And the reason they lost people there was because that was a mitzvah that was a war of a mitzvah. Hashem commanded them to go. And normally when you have a mitzvah, God doesn't let anybody fall. But because they fell before their enemy, because of Achan stole from the forbidden stuff. And he transgressed the Shavua, the oath of Joshua. So because one guy did it, the whole people were indicted. So they said, okay, we remember that happened historically, so let's see if we have a sin amongst ourselves. You understand? This is what they're doing. By the way, this is how you do tshuva. First you look and you figure out, did I do this? No. Oh, so let's go historically. What caused this sort of disaster? Oh, I remember this. We know that Achan stole and it caused us all to be in trouble. So do we have anybody like that here? So they said, as a result of the Shavua, this great Shavua, that anybody who didn't go up to Mitzvah and join them would be killed. So Viskimu, and they agreed, Shabavadai Nimsu Mi Sha'avru, so they agreed, and certainly if they found somebody who transgressed this, to see if somebody transgressed this oath, and thereby Israel fell, and because of this, they said, who did not go up in the Kehillah? Because they didn't know who. Remember, when they came, they didn't take an accounting of the people. They assumed everybody came. And once again, they had compassion. Adata diber min avar. So from now, we were talking about the past. Kichakru ala aver. They were searching the past. Why did Hashem punish us? And they thought of the possibilities that some of the nation transgressed the vow, and therefore they were punished. Lo hayazeh motel alehem lidrosh al zeh. But they did not put upon themselves to check this out. Ki lama yechkaru al zeh halo devar aver ayin. While they look to the past, it's already done. So, but now nitchadesh etzlam in chadash. But now they had a new thing they had to deal with. In other words, it was just because something passed, we had a war, and we want to check out the war, and so on and so forth. Why did we lose the first 2 times? Okay, it's done. It's a historical event, finished, have a good day. But now we have something brand new in front of us, and that is, Niskru ki niskru shabe'et chamatam, nishbu she'ish mehem lo yitem bitom. We remembered that when we made the Shavua that we wouldn't give our daughters to Binyamin. And because of this, and in addition, there's also 600 men remaining from Mitzrayim, from Binyamin. Halo matsu yimsu nashim kinushe Binyamin nahargu kulam, and we can't give women to Binyamin because their women were killed out. And if we just sit by and do nothing idly, then that Shevet will die out, they'll get old, and they'll be in. And that would be something bad for the entire nations, because the divine presence of God cannot dwell upon us unless there's 12 tribes, like I said originally. So now if there's one tribe missing, who pegam gadol l'klal ha'uma, that's going to be a major blemish against the entire nation. Kenizkar b'divrei chachmeinu zichron levracha, like our rabbis explained in many places. Varez and nezik l'dodarim, and this damage will be generational. Ma'aved lo yuchal litkon, and it will be something that was crooked that you cannot make straight. By the way, that's something from Proverbs. A crooked thing you cannot make straight. You can never make it straight again if it's crooked. Once it's crooked, it's over. Okay. Yaakov, and it would have defiled the glory of Yaakov and the wholeness of Israel forever. That's why it says you've cut off they said a tribe of Israel has been cut off, and they explained, what are we going to do to the rest of them for wives? That's what they're asking. So they said, again, after they saw Sheba, he might say, okay, that, okay, so you know what, we'll stop here. We're on 8 to 9 in the Malbim. 8 to 9 in the Malbim. Hopefully I'll look at it before we come in next week, but and that we'll see the rest of the Malbim next week, God willing, and then you'll see the rest of the story of how it plays out. But again, we know the basic story. If something happens next week, June 8th, we start Shmuel. Okay?